whether this may be your very first time touching dragons, or for those who want a new army composition or who are also familiar with it, hopefully after today's session, you guys will feel much confident in using the Hydra Totems. Jumping into the army comp, what I have here is 5 archers, minion bar, 4 rockets, 9 dragons, 3 dragon riders, 2 infernos, and of course an ice golem. The siege machine that I use the most and probably on every single attack is the Flinger. Yes, with the new totem spell, Flinger actually opened and changed the meta tremendously. In this case, this is why Hydra may potentially be a good factor because of a Flinger funnel setup you can use while having the totem spells there. So again, my spell composition, 9 totems, a freeze, a poison. Again, if you don't want the poison, you can take the poison out and bring an additional totem or even a skeleton spell, because yes, 9 totems are very much more than enough. I wanted to give you guys a breakdown. What I look for first is I primarily look for setting up Flinger values, in which you see every expo is quite literally on the coverage of the Flinger radius, which can minimize and hurt the value of the Flinger a lot. But how do we kind of go around it, given that we have the new totem spells? Well, I kind of want to show you guys how. Identifying the Flinger for me is going to be pretty obvious here. What I would like to do, I know that if I can rocket balloon this, I could then set a little small totem here to kind of essentially taint the attention of the expo and the wizard tower, so I can start my Flinger right on top of the wizard tower. So the Flinger with this is primarily going to be going for the wizard tower. Now I do also know hitting off the ricochet cannon can get the inferno, and then with the totem, again, just tanking only 1 defense. So that's the whole purpose of the with these totems, is pretty much identifying how to place those, so that way you don't have to risk it or risk investing so many totems just for a Flinger value. I like to use 1 to 2 here, sometimes depending on what you're flingering, 3 at most, but I like to always primarily use 1 or 2 here. You can see with the Flinger here, it sets up so much of a pathing in which I can set for dragons. All of this in which can be picked off for dragons is going to be very crucial here, because now if you look at this is what it's essentially carving out for me. I'm going to show you guys this replay here so you guys can kind of see exactly how to utilize this and how we were able to kind of take this down with that Flinger. So again, like I said, starting off with the rocket balloons, this makes it very easy to where I can then use a totem and the Flinger right on top. So without any waiting, yes, this is 2 defenses, but the wizard tower and the expo is not going to take a totem out as fast as an air defense and the expo would. So again, this is what I'm doing here, using a little archer to kind of help speed this Flinger so that it can actually help and get to that second layer or inside of the base as fast as possible. Now, obviously, you may be asking, well, how long do you wait with the Flinger part, and how much do you want it to get before you start the dragon? Well, obviously, I kind of wanted to set the funnel for me, like I was talking about. I mainly need the expo, the hut, Rico, Inferno, and hitting the Inferno, it will splash off the sweeper and poison. So ideally, just getting the Inferno and the expo hut, this is already more than enough for me to where I can then start my dragon. So you can see that first totem was starting to wear off a little bit because of the builder hut. It is there to kind of repair. So I essentially added a second totem to help tank. And you can see as I was waiting on that, I did do the air rocket balloons on the air defense at the top, because like I was talking about, it is going to set this entire top side for me so that I can push my heroes off this right side and then dragons through the middle. And then I could just essentially enter with my dragons. So pretty common, straightforward with the Flinger, because the Flinger takes so much value there for me. I'm able to essentially use my dragon to maneuver through this side of the base. Now, you can kind of guess exactly where and how I'm going to be playing the heroes as well, is the heroes are going to be essentially coming off this side and working itself on the bottom right side of the base, because with the Flinger taking care of this side, the heroes can kind of thin this corner off so that the dragons from the very top side of the base are going to be able to enter towards this side and kind of push straight into the core. So this is exactly pretty straightforward. Yes, it may be going for 2 sweepers, but you can see my giant arrow was able to knock out one of the sweepers, and down the Flinger part moving in is going to be able to take care of the second, which then eliminates the threats of sweepers pushing dragons. You can see just constantly stacking the totems on this back end. The Flinger is still moving, getting even more value there. But again, you can see how much power this already is just because of the maximum value the Flinger was able to get. And of course, that narrow pathing of the heroes in the combination with the Flinger all ties and works together to where I'm able to wrap and finish this base up with all of my heroes alive, working around the rest of the base. So we still have all 4 of our heroes there, and again, dragons. We got sea troops coming out, and again, completely wiping out the space with that totem not even being fully used there. So again, this is a really good showcase as to why this army is pretty straightforward as long as you identify a Flinger and use the Flinger properly. Now, this one obviously has better coverage of the Flinger, and of course, this makes it very, very tricky because again, you're going to have a hero on each corner of the base, which makes Flinger hard. Obviously, you can Flinger at some points, but not necessarily good Flinger enough to set a good pathing for your dragons. Obviously, this one's isolated core, which makes it extremely hard to kind of path into this core of the base because you can see how isolated this little central area is. That's exactly what we're going to be eventually getting to. So first off, Flinger. Now, what I am looking for here is kind of an entry point of a Flinger that supports the dragons. Obviously, the double rage is going to be the most trickiest part, but this is what I'm going to do here. I'm going to use the archers here to kind of tank this mortar at the top side. So I'm going to do 1 archer here, 1 archer here, and then Flinger in the middle. This is going to help support to where the mortar will shoot right, shoot left, shoot right, shoot left. Because I have 5 archers, I'm going to continuously cycle it until the mortar's down. Once that mortar is down, this new trick I'm doing is an Ice Golem and an Infernal Baby Dragon. This will already be enough to be able to take the hero down because of the Flinger smash and of course the Infernal Baby Dragon. This 2 combination will be able to take the queen down, and then following that, look at all this value the Flinger can get. Mortar is shooting right, then you just drop a right archer and then drop a left after the mortar takes the left. This is kind of tanking the mortar, so that way you can give the Flinger enough time to be able to tank the mortar down. So you can see the splash that it's dealt with on the Archer Queen. I'm dropping an Ice Golem, and then in addition to that, I'm going to drop an Infernal Baby Dragon. And with the help of this will give me the time to where my baby Infernal Dragon will be able to take and finish off the Archer Queen. Giving it time, yes, you can see the clock ticking below a minute, and we haven't even started, or below a minute and a half, and we haven't even started. But again, with dragons, with Flingers, this can go very, very fast as well. So you can kind of see I'm splitting this. I'm dropping a totem to kind of tank the CC and actually tank the defense, where the 3 dragons on the multi-archer tower with the Dragon Rider and Rocket Balloons took that off. So that's essentially establishing that top left funnel so I can send everything right in between the heroes and the Flinger. Yes, they're kind of spread out a good chunk, but this is where you can pop the Warring ability. And again, with all the spells that you have, you're going to be able to kind of use this to tank the core and tank the flanks so your heroes and dragons stay up and alive. So with the help of the Overgrowth, I am cutting off the Expo, cutting off the Spitter, and most importantly, the Monolith as well. You can see some dragons pick to the left, some dragons pick to the bottom. But again, with the help of the heroes pushing towards the bottom, this hopefully gets at least a dragon or 2 into that middle of the base to where they can finish off the Town Hall. Now, yes, we do have a totem and the MP ability left. The MP kind of circled around the hall. This is what you were to kind of expect. But again, with the help of everything that you do have left, you are going to be able to kind of wrap and finish through the rest of the base there. So, Rocket Loon, and then Ice Golem, and the Infernal Baby Dragon. This kind of helps with that process of being able to take a hero to set up the Flinger. Yes, this does get a lot closer than what the other attacks have been, but you can see this still, with the isolated core, you are still able to maneuver through an anti-air base, because double rage is primarily for anti-air. But this is exactly how we can overcome that. So, wrapping things up here, like I said, practicing FCEs, doing this in Legends will also benefit you in Legends as well, but also it is a harder mode, so if it works in Legends, it will most likely work in your typical Clan War leagues or Clan Wars. So, again, 2 different things, and I hope you guys have a better understanding and knowledge of this. If you guys did, feel free to give a good review and a comment on this, and of course, until then, I'll catch you all in the very next one. Ghost out.